welcome to Divine Law by Lauren. I want to talk to you guys today about how in the Bible it talks about prophecy, it talks about dreams, it talks about all of these spiritual gifts, right? But then people still will shame psychics and mediums, but the Bible talks about those abilities as well. So, I have had these abilities since I was very little. And I always thought, I believed in God because of my death experience, but I could not understand if I had a death experience and I saw God, why did I have these gifts if people were telling me that they were bad? So I couldn't really understand that. So I started to ask God, what does this mean? Are these gifts from you or are these gifts from someone else? Or are these bad? What does this mean? I'm not understanding what this means. So I started to ask him, and he gave me the answers that yes, they are from him. And that's when I started to realize the further I looked into things and the further my abilities progressed and my relationship with God progressed that that part in the Bible where it says, do not seek mediums or this, that, and the third, everyone has that ability to talk to their ancestors, spirit guides, God, their spirit group. And some of us have the ability to talk to people on the other side. But what I got from this and what I've learned along the way is that it all comes from a heart space. Everything is love. Love is the only thing that transcends time and space, right? So if you are leading from a good place, let's say as a medium, I'm sitting down with someone that is trying to connect with their son that passed or so on, and I'm leading from that heart space, then that is okay. God is only ever looking at your heart. So if you're doing things with ill intents, then that is where the line is crossed. But if you're doing things with good intent, because the Bible talks about spiritual gifts, and that's where some people that are super tied into religion, they get confused because there is even a verse in the Bible that talks about the spirits and talks about people that are spiritual will understand God more, and people that aren't will think that this is all lies. So it's right there in our face, the truth. And the Bible is only ever talking about consciousness, it's not talking about anything else besides consciousness and conscious creation. So once you start to understand that and you start to understand that everything is already perceived in the mind, and you start to understand that these abilities we all have, some are just not activated in some people, but it all comes down to your intent and your heart space and where you're leading in your heart. Because if you're doing good and helping people with your abilities, then that is okay. But if you are doing things that are not good and doing dark things with your abilities, then that is when the line is crossed, and that is when you're leading from a darker space. So I get a lot of questions on that, and I get a lot of questions about, having abilities and stuff like this. And that is my opinion on all of that.